Femi Gbajabiamila would not do any of these things. Let's assume he's even doing them. Would not do any of these things without the approval of the president.
You think so?
Absolutely. And he's still there as the chief of staff. He's still there as chief of staff. He's only an errand boy.
This is a new dimension you're
he's only an errand boy. There has been no government that's been as corrupt as this government till date in Nigeria.
Really?
That's why they cannot get a second term.
Wow.
If they get a second term, they will sell this country. Because from day one, they didn't come in to govern. From day one, from Eagle Square, that day on the day of inauguration, they started campaigning for second tenure. No plans to govern this country. Just the power, grab, run with it, sell the whole country. Again, you see, now I reference Peter Obi. He says, I will not take. And so nobody around me can take. So imagine if it's Peter Obi that's in the villa, and you are hearing all this. The very first one, he would have sent him to EFCC to say, finish the investigation before we hear anything about him again. But that the man is still there, tells you that it's not him. I don't know. Okay, now, he came in, even the NSA, I saw him on television say, the inherited dead economy. Hello, this man campaigned for Buhari first tenure. Campaigned for him second tenure. The Buhari handed over to you. It's now you are saying you inherited dead economy. You didn't know the economy was dead from the first tenure. You didn't see that there was no capacity to do. You campaigned for his second tenure because you had a deal to succeed him. It's now you are crying. So these guys don't care about governance. It's how to win the next election and perpetuate themselves in power. That's why monies are moving and flying, and so many people are buried in poverty. And that is why we must come together and kick out this government. No matter how much money they have started aside. I said the other time, and I repeat it here. In this next election, not INEC, not security, not the judiciary will determine the outcome. What INEC is calling IREV, that is their own nomenclature, what they use to collate the election.
Exactly.
We have a complete infrastructure.
Oh, really?
The last time I was talking about it, we had gone very far. Now we have even deployed AI. Somebody just brought something from Dubai and we have simulated. Where INEC, what's his name, Amupiton or so, he cannot determine the outcome of the next election. No way. By 2 p.m., Nigerians will know clearly who won that election.
This is Niger Unfiltered on SYMFONI Television. My name is Olawale Oluwade, and my guest today is Honorable Sergius Ogun, former House of Representatives member representing Essa Northeast, Southeast Federal Constituency of Edo State. My dear brother, nice to have you once again.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Well, we've not seen after the primaries. So I think it's the appropriate place to begin our conversation. Are you a candidate in the forthcoming
No, not
elections?
exactly. Not exactly.
Okay, give us the background. What happened?
Well, a lot went into that. We were told to...
Sorry, what were you vying for?
For Senate.
Okay.
Yeah, a lot went into that. We were told to go to our state. There was going to be primaries. And
your party is
NDC. Yeah,
okay.
Then we went and they sent people from the national. And then they started negotiating the need for one to step down for the other, which was okay, considering it's a new party. They might not have the manpower to go around the state conducting primaries, But I had a challenge with the appointed leader for my senatorial. I think nationally they appointed somebody who already took a position with supporting my opponent. So, and then the leaders told me, we met in a bar, and they were saying that, okay, we should both of us go and discuss, and then if we don't agree, we'll come back and the leaders will take the decision. And of course we did not agree. We came back and the guy said, okay, whatever the leaders say, he will agree. But who are the leaders? The leaders were handpicked by this same called senatorial leader. And I said it openly. I said, look, I don't know how we are seated here. And the so-called leaders you are talking about, I don't know them. I don't know the people from my senatorial. The other people from Edo South, but I assumed that people from my senatorial were going to vote. Because most of the people from Edo South were in Labour Party together, then ADC. So I didn't have issues with those ones if they would vote for me. But those that were handpicked from my place, they were not known politicians from my place. Maybe they were friends of that so-called leader that wanted to use them for that kind of job. And I said, but that's not what the Electoral Act says. It says to achieve consensus, the person, whoever is going to step down, or put it in writing. And I said to them, I was in a house 2022, when we amended the Electoral Act. So if you are not saying leaders will vote, that's alien to the law as it stands today. And they said, okay, go think about it. And then 2 days after, they were still trying to do the same thing. And one of I think Natasha Osawaro came in that process and said, look, this is not right. And I heard she called the national leader and who said, look, everybody go to your senatorial and do primaries. And then this was around after 3 to 4. We are in Edo South in Benin. So how many hours is it going to take to get to my local government and all? So we dispatched people. Everybody was doing their own. So everybody did and all. But it came down to the leaders again, the same leaders that had to make the decision. But cut a long story short, I didn't have issues with it. My opponent is somebody I know and he can win election. There's no problem with that at all.
Can you tell us the name of your opponent?
John Yakubu, Honorable John Yakubu. He was a council chairman in Essa Northeast. And we are good friends. So it's just that, like I said, from day one, it was not my intention to run for the House of Reps. I got a call from our leader to say, look, this is your opportunity. And the first thing that came to me is, if you do not run for this same position, I will look as if you don't even believe he can win. And I also knew I was going to be able to offer him a whole lot when I get to the state.
That's Mr. Peter Obi, the presidential candidate.
So that is why and of course, a whole lot happened from the so-called leaders in the state that I don't want to talk about now. Because my focus is to win, let us win and make Peter Obi our president. Yeah. Although I was offered House of Reps, and I said, no, I will not take it. I've moved on. That's the truth. I've moved on. And I will campaign for everybody, campaign for Peter Obi vigorously to make sure he is the next president of Nigeria. And that's it.
Okay. So let me put it, let it be on record. Are you going to court? Because some of your co-aspirants, not in your senatorial district, other parts of Nigeria, under the same party, NDC, a few of them personally, have gone to court. They're in court, alleging one form of grievance or the other against the same process that you just described. So, are you also going to court?
I won't go. If I go to court and we mess up the system, how is Peter Obi going to emerge? He's my focus, and my eyes are on the ball. You see, I'm working with a team in the presidential campaign. I'm sure I'm going to work with the electoral committee. So we have a team there that we are developing the app we have every day. That's going to be more superior to that of INEC. That's my focus. So we're not talk about they didn't. Well, I won't be blaming the officials.
So you're not leaving the party also?
No way. But if Peter Obi leaves tomorrow, I will take a walk. Yeah.
Okay, so you are there essentially
yes,
to deliver Mr.
Absolutely.
Peter Obi as president
Absolutely.
of Nigeria. Okay.
Absolutely. So I will not do anything to harm that vision and dream.
Okay. Let's. I don't want us to flog this, since you're very upfront about what your ultimate objective is, and I think that is something that is truly commendable. The attempt to deregister the Nigerian Democratic Congress, your party, the same Lokoja High Court that ruled that the party should be registered December last year, 2025, turned around June this year to say, there was an association, peace movement, whatever, came and said, your party used their logo and all of those. And the judge, Issa Dashan, suddenly ruled. What do you have to say about this?
The truth is, how can a high court give judgment and then turn around again and give another judgment? The same court, the same judge.
Yes.
I think they should have been they should have appealed that judgment to an appellate court. But I know nothing will come out of it. But I also know people say Why is everybody, you have not done due diligence, you have not done what you ought to do. That's talking about the opposition now, parties, that you are blaming the party in government. But we've never heard it like this. That all the opposition parties have crises. The ones that have meaningful or people that can possibly harm this government one way or the other. They all have issues. Yesterday I was reading about the SDP where they were in the news. They have case. I mean, what's it called? The national chairman now, he was celebrating a judgment by a high court. A high court. The person you defeated can still go to Court of Appeal and then go to Supreme Court. So it might be a week to the election. The Supreme Court will give judgment and they will tell INEC, okay, the ballot paper, make sure, okay, well, of course, you don't have pictures there. Change this person's name to that. So what they are trying to do, from my own thinking, what I can conclude, is that they want to cast doubt in the minds of people. That's the party in government working with the judiciary. Cast doubt in the mind of the people that these political parties that you are supporting might not even feed a candidate. So don't waste your time, come and work for us. Or don't even bother voting. That's what they are trying to do. And it's very unfortunate. You know, the last time I was talking about these individuals, those in power now, 1999, 1998, what was their net worth? What were they doing? If we follow what the president today claims to be his age, he will probably be in his 40s in 1999. We heard he went on exile, came back, and was living with Senator Buckner, Kerele Buckner or something. If you had a mansion before you went on exile, when you come back, will you not go to your mansion and receive everybody? But you were squatting. You know, through the benevolence of Lagosians and other people, you became a governor. Okay, forget about him. Even Akume, the secretary to government. I know a friend of mine that was very close to him. I heard the day they were going for primaries. I think it was in 98 or so, or 99, before the elections. There's a guy, I think they had a car, they said they would push and start. The guy, their opponent came from Lagos, and they said the guy came with a lot of money. This same secretary of government today, the guy told me, said they should go back. Maybe we should just go back and not. And that guy asked him, what's wrong with you? Go back. Say the people will kill us. Let's go. If we fail, we fail. And that's how he got the ticket and became governor. I'm not saying he's a bad person. Talk about my dear leader, Gbaja. How old was he? So Akume will probably be in his late 30s then. Gbaja maybe late 30s. You know, when 1999 I'm talking about now. So for you to get there today and you have removed the ladder, I'm saying this because how many people in their 40s today are hopeful, considering where these individuals were then, and say I can become a governor without having several billions, or become a House of Rep member without having so much money, or a senator. So we just want them to allow the system raise young and vibrant people. And for the young people, if these guys were in their 40s or in their 30s when they became governors and senators and all that, today you can't get there. And if you are there wasting your time supporting them, I just want to let you know that it's a club. They are turning this whole thing to a club. If you don't belong to that club, you cannot aspire for anything in this country. So wake up. Wake up and take out this menace. And let's have a country we can all call ours. A country where, like Peter Obi keeps saying, where the child of a nobody can become somebody in this country. And that's my dream and that's my vision.
You said quite a couple of very strong, points. Now, let's look at the issue of your comment about the young people in their 30s and 40s, you know, who are playing the role of bag carriers. But, Honorable, are you sure you're not speaking to a situation where, you know, in the English parable, you're addressing the stable when the horses have bolted?
Well, I hope not. The earlier we realize where we are and where we are going to, the better for everybody. Because let me even use this opportunity to talk to the elites across board, political, business, military, across board,
Traditional, religious,
everybody. When was the last time you took your driver for a check or maybe your gardener, or maybe your housekeeper, or your chef, or anybody. If you haven't done that, just try and do that for your own sake.
When you say check, medical checkup or what?
Medical or anything.
Any other check, okay.
See, because mental health is real in Nigeria. And most of these people are on drugs right now, on alcohol, because of the hardship. How much can you possibly pay this category of people? Can anybody earning something from business or even in government, can you afford to pay a driver 1 million naira? A driver that has 5 children and 1 wife, maybe 2 relatives living with them? Or if it's 3 children with the wife. For an African home, you must have 1 or 2 relatives living with you. How much can you possibly pay such a man? So most of them are not meeting up. And they have resorted to taking hard drugs and alcohol. For their own sake, let them just run a test. They will thank me later. For their own sake. So if you think you're in government, you are amassing so much money, that young man driving you, just take him for a test. And you see what will come out. That might save you. That might save your family. So to come back to the young people, I also know, we have this I pass my neighbor mentality in Nigeria. So as long as I am getting something here today, I don't care. At least I'm better than the guy I went to school with. I'm better than my next door neighbor. But 50 years down the road, 30 years down the road, what will become of you? Like we were saying earlier. Those that were in politics 1979 to 2003, as much, they were making money. Some stole money, some worked genuinely and retired or whatever. If they have put something in place for everybody, for example, health insurance. So when you are 60, you are a senior citizen. Health insurance for you, free health care. If you have good bus services, you ride for free and all. Today, some of them are begging. They can barely feed. That would not have been the situation. But that I pass my neighbor mentality was there then. Maybe they had a couple of houses here and there. They had some money in the bank and they felt they were good. Some of them have sold those houses. Others are dead. Their children sold those houses. So the point is, do the right thing today so that you don't regret tomorrow. So if today you believe you are running around a politician, you are getting 1 naira or 2 naira and you are better than the other person, for how long would that take you? So one illness. For those working in INEC, usually they don't even pay them well anyway. So election is a bazaar. That's when they get their money. So if you think today I'm going to make a lot of money from a politician and all that, one illness, not even cancer or anything. All that money, you spend it on it. But have good healthcare system that will cater for all. You might not have to travel that road. The government will be there with you. And that's what we talk about. They say, no patriotism in Nigeria. Where is it going to come from? Somebody's parents, father, mother, are not well. They are in their 60s, their 70s. And you have to carry all that burden. The drugs you can afford to buy here are fake drugs. And your parents will die. Now you are alone. Maybe to cater for your young ones. Yeah, by virtue of the UBEC Act, you have primary to
secondary.
To GS3 is free and compulsory. But we are going to check the state of the schools. So with all this, how are you going to cope? So the point we are making, for once, just do the right thing. And let us vote for, let's have free, fair, credible election. So that we can let the politicians know. So that we can let them know that if you don't do the right thing, we will vote you out. Till we are able to do that, politicians will continue to take you for a ride. Because they will use any means to get there. But if they know that it's by your vote they got there, they will respect you. And they know that they will know that when they don't do well, you can send them out. So I will appeal again. It's not too late, and nothing is impossible. If anybody is telling you that, we have already written this election, we have result, or we have won, it's a lie. They haven't. They haven't. So let's come together.
Let's interrogate this further, my brother. I like your energy, your passion, Gen Zs will say energy. So I like your optimism. You are very optimistic about the system that we're still able to change. We're still able to effect positive change, Some don't think it's possible. That's why I use the metaphor of the horse bolting from the stable.
You see, now we have to encourage us. Like the Bible says, David,
Exactly.
David encouraged himself
In the Lord.
Romans 5:5
Okay.
says, hope make it not ashamed. For
Exactly.
the love of God is shed abroad in our hearts. So I can
Amen.
only hope and believe.
But the evidence on ground does not give so much hope. Is the door not shut against good people, people of conscience, people of capacity, people of patriotism? Is the door not permanently shut? I love your phrase earlier on. These politicians have turned this into a boys' club, an elite boys' club. Is the door not shut, my brother?
They want to shut the door, but we should not allow them. And that is where some of us are very passionate about Peter Obi. In my own party, some of the leaders were asking for money. But that's where we are today as a country. So for me, it's not a problem. It's not peculiar to my party. If you go and check out the political parties, they're doing it.
Of course.
So it has become the norm. So, and my own take is, if I have to give you this money to get a ticket for a new party that I'm going to sell in my senatorial and help popularize, and I give you this money, where will he account? How will he help the party? You know, for people like Peter Obi, people say, Peter Obi should have formed his own party and all that. He tried. He tried. We spoke about forming a party and not letting anybody know he's involved with me. And I tried. A former colleague, chairman, Committee on Electoral Matters, and we will call Committee on INEC, introduced me to a professor in INEC. I went to see the professor, and he directed me on how to go about it. I went, collected the forms and all. Even my dear friend and brother, Kenneth Okonkwo, I discussed with him how far I have gone, and he said I should send the forms. I sent the forms to him and all that. I think there were over 100 associations that wanted to be political parties. But INEC won't register them. And by law, as soon as you meet the criteria, they should register you. That's how APC was registered. Because they threatened the government then that they have met every criteria to be registered. But when it came to this one, they didn't do it. So when people say Peter Obi didn't try, and the man tried. So the point I'm making is, some of us will have to stand up and say, no, I won't give you money. I'm qualified to get this ticket, and I have done everything I need to do to get it. If it's money, go with it. That is how we can begin to build the society we believe in. You cannot, it's not only in the National Assembly that you will change things. I was there before and I did my bit. So for everyone, like Peter Obi will say he doesn't give shishi, it doesn't mean that he doesn't spend money. I mean, you can say he spends a lot of his own personal money. But the one that will begin to give you on the side for doing nothing, no. So as we begin to come together as a people of like mind to say, look, this road we are traveling is not taking us anywhere. So let's build that consensus to say, look, this is the right way to go. As many of us that can come out to say this is the right way to go, and then we push, we will get there. If we are waiting for somebody to come and change it for us, who? It will not happen. Because, okay, now look at people stealing money, and then maybe you send children abroad to go and school, and you are here, you can be killed any day. Not because they are targeting you, because everybody is on rampage. It can even be that son, it can even be that daughter that went overseas to school and is in the country and wants to go and see old friends and will be killed on the street. So what have you achieved? You have achieved nothing. So the earlier we begin to talk to ourselves, and especially the elites, send messages home. These people say they will buy votes. They are starting up money to buy votes in 2027. You control your family because by virtue of the fact that you assist them, financially. There are people that a whole community will respect because you did a road or give them light or give them water. Send money home and say on election day, this is the way you will vote. They will listen to you. In my own state, there's almost no family you don't have anybody abroad in diaspora. And then the diasporas are not with this government. Because why are they suffering abroad? I'm sure you have family members, you have friends. We have lived outside this country. There's no rest for you. You are working around the clock to be able to pay your rent and manage. In all that, people are still sending messages from home. They are nowhere, no good hospitals. Their roof is leaking. children can't go to school, and you are appealing yourself to assist them. If you send message home to say, look, this is the person to vote, you must vote for, they will listen to you. So we must come together. And the earlier we do that, the better. And if we come together as one, you know about the scripture in the Bible, I don't know where it is exactly, when, I can't remember where it is exactly, when the people came together, the Tower of Babel.
The Tower of Babel.
They were going to meet God.
Yeah.
Because
Genesis
they were
11.
in one accord. And God even said, if we leave this world, they will come. And he
Scattered
them with
their
the
language. Yeah.
They take Calabar, break,
Genesis
block,
11.
you will not carry hammer. That's why they did not go. So we must come together in one accord and say no more. If we do that, this government will be out on election day before 12 noon.
Like I said, my brother Sergius, I like your optimism. And like you said, one thing we can never lose is hope and faith. Yeah. You know, I also love too, just like Paul said. Anyway, part of the issue bedeviling this society is the role the judiciary is playing now. Many have expressed great disappointment in the current state of the judiciary as being a great letdown, you know, because the popular cliche is that the judiciary is the last hope of the common man or just the regular person. But nowadays, because so if you have electoral disputes and you hope to go to the courts to get, you know, succor, but then somebody comes from somewhere, you know, and plays one joker and then gets, you know, snatches injustice from the jaws of justice, if there's anything of the sort. So, referencing the NDC, for instance, how is the NWC dealing with all this plethora of court cases? How is your NWC trying to manage it? People like you, elders of the party, how are you trying to manage all of this?
I think there is a group that came from will I say senatorial or my constituency. I think I had a came day before yesterday. They called me and they have spoken to me like a month ago that they were going to come as a group to come and protest to the national leader and all.
On your behalf?
On my behalf and other things that happened,
other issues.
You know, and against our so-called leader. And I said to them, don't worry. People have emerged. Let's support them, you know. Then, day before yesterday, they called me. They were already in Abuja now. That they're going to meet the national leader.
They still came to Abuja?
In the night. So this was not like Unity Day and they said they are on their way.
Yes.
They told me they're in Abuja.
Wow.
You know, and they started giving phone to one another like that. But the guy that called me was not among those that had spoken to me before. You know? So, but he knows my position on this matter. And I said, okay, I wish you guys well. And that was all. But the next day, somebody sent me a message. They came and they didn't meet the national leader. They met the vice chairman, South, and he told them this. They told them to come back. Bottom line, they blocked them from seeing the national leader. And maybe they would have gone back now. But I told them, just forget about this matter. Let's go and work for the party. And that will be my advice across the country. Maybe for me, my focus is on delivering Peter Obi as the next president of Nigeria. Because I believe that's where we are going to reset this country. I had used this word before, that the only man that has the passcode or the password to reset this country is Mr. Peter Gregory Obi. So if our focus is on delivering that man, we will not be fighting about or fighting over whatever anybody did to me and all that. We'll go back home. It's our party. Let's work together and then get victory. Because if we are going to be complaining about somebody took money from me, and in any case, you offered it. They didn't put a gun to your head. They asked me for money, and I could afford that money, but I just felt it's not worth it. It's not worth it. So that would be my appeal. No matter what the issues are, just forget about it. For the sake of Peter Obi and the leadership of the party, let that be a sacrifice. Move on. Because we have a hope of a greater tomorrow where we will have somebody to correct all these injustices that's been going on. Because look at, the biggest challenge we have now is the failure of the institutions. If we have a strong institution, or we have strong institutions in this country, it will fix most of the problems we have today. Just a strong institution. But we don't have that today. That's why we are talking about the issue of judiciary. Because the people we are talking about in the judiciary, they go to the same market like you and I. It's okay, you imagine you're in okay, not even government. you worked in one of the oil companies, ExxonMobil, for example. People you went to school with, maybe one is a judge now, and then you just retire from Mobil. You have like 3-4 houses in Lekki. Maybe you have, maybe you're from Osun or Ogun State, you have another mansion there. You earn legitimate money to build this one because you invested over time. Your kids schooled abroad and they're all working abroad or even in the oil companies and all that. And you have this judge that is not corrupt. Typical civil servant, 5 years, he became a magistrate. Maybe 10 years after, he became a judge and all that. He can barely build a house anywhere in Nigeria.
Today.
And then the children are schooling here. ASU will go on strike every other month and all. Those children, the children of the judge and the children of the guy that retired from ExxonMobil, went to primary school together, maybe secondary school together before they all went. The other ones went abroad. And those ones are all big boys and big girls already. And your own, they are still struggling here. And you are struggling. You retire as a judge, your official residence is taken from you. You don't have a house anywhere. That's why I keep using the word, we are all going to the same market. Your children will know you're an honest man. They will respect you, daddy. But it ends there. Dad, why does it have to be like this? The other one can be a permanent secretary in the civil service and will take so much money. Will you go and contest election and become a senator? What about the children of that honest judge? So that is why we must fix the system to make it work for everybody. And the only way we can do this is to build strong institutions. That's the only way I believe we can get out of this.
What you say now is so poignant, you know. The inequalities in our society, the deep inequalities, you know, where the role, and that's the role of government, you know, to ensure access, equal access, equitable distribution of, you know, the resources of state to all equitably. But here's my question, my brother. Isn't that why there's such desperation to get political power in Nigeria?
That's why it is. But you see, many of us, like the other day, Peter Obi said something about he's poorer today because of his involvement with politics. And it's absolutely correct. That's same testimony. People from my senatorial or my constituency know me when I came into politics. They know the number of cars, the convoys that will come with me into the community. After I was elected, it started coming down because I had left my job and everything. There's no money in government. What's the salary of a governor? A governor. There's no governor in Nigeria that does not have a mansion in Abuja, except Peter Obi. He stays in one place with a suite, not 5-star. I don't think it's maybe
either former governor or current governor.
It's a room and it's a suite. The suite is not a massive one. I have stayed in suites that will be, the sitting room will be like a football pitch, you know. And I see now his running mate was a former governor who lives in an estate, you know. I'm not saying that there's anything wrong. I mean, maybe some of them signed an agreement or that there's a law in their state for the government to build.
Yes.
Part of their takeaway,
yes.
You know,
yes.
To build the houses for them and all. But for him, it's nothing to him. Because I have asked myself, how does he feel when he's visiting his colleagues, former colleagues? I saw him with Saraki the other day. I've been to Saraki's house. These are former governors. And most of them, he was even in office before them. They all have houses here and mansions. So outside the pension plan or gratuity that they had to build a house for them, most of them have multiple houses here. But he stays in that hotel, and that's how a businessman should think. Dangote the other day was talking about, I think he's only building in Abuja now or just finished building. Now, why do you need a house here when I don't live here? Stay in a hotel, because if you have a house here, the day you arrive, maybe you're talking about a pipe burst or one thing, and you're going to spend a night or two and you leave. That's how a typical businessman reasons. And that's how who Peter Obi is. Because no governor can, and his salary or her salary will not be enough to build a mansion in Abuja and then build in the capital city where he was a governor. And then, of course, we'll have one in the village. None. That salary can't do that. If you say, okay, take the fleet of cars that you used while you were in office, your ordinary civil service pension will not be able to maintain any of those cars. But they are living like that. And we are not asking questions. Now we are talking about the insertions in the budget. Those things are just pulled out. Again, I dare say it's the pressure on them from the people. But you called it up, you brought it upon yourself. Because if you say you are not doing, if you don't want to vote for me, don't vote for me. I'm a public servant. I have come to serve you. And that public service, that position is on trust. The day I betray it, I have become a traitor. If you go into government with that mentality, you will not steal. Okay, so what? If you lose the election, so what? Your life has not ended. So is that pressure that is making them do all manner of things?
Before we move on, let me ask you, because you've said a lot of glowing stuff about Mr. Peter Obi, can Peter Obi actually do it alone? Because the judiciary, the legislature, in fact, my biggest fear actually is the legislature, because the guys who are going there are not going there for anything but to amass wealth. Let me use allegedly. The parties itself, the people in the party are looking for their own bite of the cake. How far can Peter Obi go, assuming he wins, to make this change?
They say when the head is sick, the body is in trouble. You have a good head, one good head. Every other thing will fall into line. When Buhari won elections, Jonathan lost. That was when I came to Congress. Jonathan lost. But my consolation was, okay, we have a guy that's going to straighten everybody up. So that should be good for this country. But he was not able to do that. I even heard the civil servants. Most of them were sitting they were on their desk before 8 a.m.
Yeah.
The first 6 months, when nothing was changing, they went back to their old ways. So what does that tell you? So if you have one good head, that on Inauguration Day in that Eagle Square will say, my fellow Nigerians, I am not going to take bribe. My wife doesn't have any office in Aso Rock Villa. You didn't vote for my children. So nobody will come to you in my name. Not party, nobody. From execution of contract and all that. Be rest assured that I will not take a dime of your money. And he goes to Aso Rock Villa and nobody will hear any such thing. Everybody will sit up. So if you are a civil servant and you bend anything, they take you to court, charge you to court, and jail you. Just set example with one or two people, which Obasanjo tried to do. So till date, Obasanjo has been the best president we have produced. If Obasanjo could do it then at that level, why can't any other person do it? So let Peter Obi get there. Most of us will rally around him. And then he will succeed. There are so many Nigerians that want Peter Obi to succeed. More than those that do not want. Because those that want the status quo to be maintained are those that believe they are benefiting from it. But we are not traveling anywhere if we continue on this journey. So that's how we need somebody that will set the record straight. And let's begin to do the right things for once. And I can tell you for free, with Peter Obi there, there will be a massive turnaround. Because it's leadership. This man is Magafulu of Tanzania. The guy went there. They stopped borrowing. The machines that were not working in the hospitals and all, within how many weeks or whatever, they fixed all of them. Things started working. Yeah. They said COVID killed him, but I'm sure they killed him. But Peter Obi has said himself, he's ready to die for Nigeria. It's as simple as that.
Okay. Let's switch gears. You were in the House, 8th and 9th.
Yes.
8th and 9th. Femi Gbajabiamila was once your leader and then speaker, I believe. Yes. Okay.
He was my speaker, not my leader.
Speaker.
Yeah,
okay, both.
We will call him leader.
Exactly.
Because I was not in his party.
Okay, exactly. Okay. So my question is, when you heard of this gale of scandals, particularly, of course, there were rumors of payment for jobs, payment for appointments, and that was everywhere. It was rife everywhere. But then, of course, this recent allegation of the Presidential Foreign Intervention Promotion Council, where a certain individual said he was offered DG of the agency, and then he paid 400 million, remaining 200 million outstanding, and then it was denied. Okay, there was a disagreement over the takeoff grant of the agency running to tens of billions. They asked him to bring 48%. All of those, he met with everybody that needed to be met with, took pictures with all the big people. including the EFCC chair, I might add. So it's a huge scandal now. Before that dust settled, then NUPRC. When you hear all of this, Honorable Sir.
Okay. Femi, Olufemi, Ahmed, okay, Gbajabiamila, would not do any of these things. Let's assume he's even doing them. Would not do any of these things without the approval of the president.
You think so?
Absolutely. And he's still there as the chief of staff. He's still there as chief of staff. He's only an errand boy.
This is a new dimension you're introducing.
He's only an errand boy. Okay, you see, I was in the house when we got in 2015. A couple of people that came from Lagos in the House of Assembly. They were civil servants that I was quite close to. They told me when we hear people talk about corruption in the federal and what they are calling corruption, you see, one of them told me, I laugh. This guy was a permanent secretary. He said, I laugh. If you go on, if you know the corruption happening in the state, you will not call what is happening in the federal corruption. So, if somebody is so pretending over this corruption, and you are pointing to the errand man, you have missed it. You have missed it. He's a foot soldier for somebody. So till you begin to change your lenses, and then focus on whoever is behind it. In my place, they say somebody dresses a masquerade. Or somebody will have to dress up a masquerade. So Femi is not the masquerade. The masquerade is there. He's just an errand boy. And of course, that's why he's still there. Again, you see, now I reference Peter Obi. He says, I will not take. And so nobody around me can take. So imagine if it's Peter Obi that's in the villa, and you are hearing all this. The very first one, he would have sent him to EFCC to say, finish the investigation before we hear anything about him again. But that the man is still there tells you that it's not him.
So you think all this drama of the president's mandating ICPC, because it came very late, actually. We had made noise, followed it, back to back, bumper to bumper, like we say, in the media, before the president finally caved in and mandated ICPC. And I am one of those who thinks they don't even have to mandate ICPC. ICPC, EFCC, they should be triggered automatically when there's a whiff of scandal. Anyway, so he did that, and the ICPC were to submit there. So you think all of that is just drama, nothing is going to come out of it?
Unless maybe he wants to sacrifice him, because they all do that. Unless he wants to sacrifice him to say, look, guy, even the fellow that they claim is a fake DG.
Yes.
We saw a picture of him looking miserable in a police station. But how did he get into Abuja? We saw a video where he flew private jet into Abuja. So all this want to get the guy to admit and so that everything will be settled behind the scene. It's all RNG. There has been no government that has been as corrupt as this government till date in Nigeria.
Really?
That's why they cannot get a second term.
Wow.
If they get a second term, they will sell this country. Because from day one, they didn't come in to govern. From day one, from Eagle Square, that day on the day of inauguration, they started campaigning for second tenure. No plans to govern this country. Just the power, grab, run with it, sell the whole country.
But they are doing great stuff.
What? Okay. Point one.
Lagos Calabar Coastal Highway.
Coastal
Nelfon, the students load out in Nelfon.
How much? You know the corruption going on there? You have not heard?
Yeah, Showore was here and he was making allusion to that. And then, of course, the GDP is coming down, GDP is going up, the inflation rate has come down, IMF is writing good report about
what was the inflation rate before, and what was it? See, that's why I keep asking.
Okay,
they say
our foreign reserve is growing, and all is about 52 billion now.
Okay, how has that?
$50 billion.
Yes, because the crude oil price went up. So we are selling for how much? So a lot of money is coming in. And they are spending money outside the budget they are not accounting for. The governors are praising the president to high heavens. The money that they were using to for what they call energy security, that's to pay for subsidy, was federation money that belongs to federal, state, local government. So it was a security issue because if there's no petrol, it's too expensive, there will be crisis. So they were taking that money directly from the federation account to pay subsidy. Now they claim they have removed subsidy, so there's more money in the federation account. So the president is not doing them any favor. In any case, you remember 2012, Jonathan tried to do that because this present president today did not want any good thing to come out from that PDP government, mobilized everybody in the country to protest against that gentleman. Today he has done it, he wants to take all the glory. There's okay, unify the exchange rate. Yes, because Buhari bastardized it using Emefiele. So like Emir of Kano, so you can sit there in your garden and you're making billions because of the exchange rate then. So I don't see what he has done there. Okay, those are the things they are calling reforms. People did it before. People attempted to do it, to do those things. So what are the reforms? I don't know. Outside those two, I don't know. Okay, now he came in. Even the NSC, I saw him on television say the inherited dead economy. Hello, this man campaigned for Buhari first tenure, campaigned for him second tenure. The Buhari handed over to you. It's now you are saying you inherited a dead economy. You didn't know the economy was dead from the first tenure. You didn't see that there was no capacity to do. You campaigned for his second tenure because you had a deal to succeed him. It's now you are crying. So, if they are using Buhari as a standard, that's when they will begin to say he has achieved something. But he said he's Buhari and Buhari is him. So that shouldn't be any standard. Exchange rate was $150 naira to the dollar for a long time. It was the heat they created. They were heating up the system before the 2015 election. That was when it moved to around 160 something, 170 something, then ended up at 190 something even after Buhari took over. And because he couldn't manage anything, it started going up. So if you are not comparing 140 something naira to the dollar when he came in, and then he now had one single exchange rate. That's what we are praising him for. But who messed it up? How much was the PDP government? How much were they using to shore up the naira? Let's put all those facts on the table. And there are people that know these things. All those retired accountant generals, auditor generals, they know. They are not saying anything. Nigeria is collapsing on all of us.
Let's agree on one thing. Let's agree on one achievement, one obvious achievement that nobody can deny or debate or argue about. So, having removed subsidy, even though there's still some counter-argument that they are paying under the table, but let's agree it's removed. So, the money, the federation account that is being shared by the three tiers of government, federal, state, and local governments, is enormous. Times 3, sometimes, of what they were getting in the Buhari years. Is that not an achievement? Because as a result of the states and local government having so much money, no state, that is the record though, no state is owing salaries or pensions. Is that not an achievement?
I don't believe that you bought this nonsense.
No, I'm just reporting what people are saying as Buhari, achievements.
Okay. Transcorp Hilton is in Abuja here. Yes. Transcorp Hilton, some few years ago, I will pay 30,000 naira to stay in a room there. King size room, the smallest rooms. And then later I moved to about 50, then about 60. You know? Go there today. It's 500,000 naira.
Wow. The king size room?
Yes, the smallest.
Wow. We're not talking about the suite
We're not talking about suite or anything, no. It's 500,000 naira today.
Wow. And
it's just not only this hotel. You go to a co-hotel. I used to pay as late as early as some 4 years ago or even 3 years ago, 40 something naira.
40 something thousand.
40 something thousand naira for a room in a co-hotel. Those rooms you will get for 250 to 300,000 naira today. So when you are talking about the money going to the governors, we're going to the other tiers of government, the state government and the local government. Yeah, is the exchange rate. What 1 naira can buy for you or could buy for you some 4 years ago, you need times 3 or 4. When Obaseki won his second tenure under my then party PDP, he called the leaders to Government House after the swearing. I think that was the next year, 2021. And to say, look, this is the state of finance, of our finances. We don't have money. What comes in from FAC is about 5 billion monthly. Then this is what we get for IGR, internally generated revenue. So by the time we pay salaries and do that and pay pensions and all that, there's almost nothing left. So I have come to report to you, leaders of the party, that we don't have money. And if you have a solution, advise me. That was the day he talked about printing money that was made headlines and all that and all that. Today, I heard the governor is getting about 25 to 28 billion.
Monthly.
So it's the same thing we are talking about. What 5 billion could do 5 years ago, 6 years ago, 15 billion will not do it today. So when he's a phantom, whatever, when they say they are not getting more money, okay, what are they doing with the more money they are getting? What are they doing with the more money? Should the people not be enjoying now? What's the state of our public schools, public healthcare centers? What's the state of those things? They cannot even implement the UBEC Act. So maybe we should be quizzing, we should be talking to the governors and the local government chairman. And another thing again, this president, people praised him. That's what I would have called reform. Went to court, using the Attorney General, and they got judgment in the Supreme Court that there should be local government autonomy. That was something that even Buhari tried to do. Then the same governor, some few months later, I went to see him when he was in Lagos on Salah break. I'm sure they discussed with him inside. He came out and gave a press conference that I'm not saying that people shouldn't have a measure of control and all that. So you give with the right hand and you take with the left hand. Because I saw in my state the governors bought SUVs for the council chairman, bought earth-moving equipment for the local government. If there's autonomy of local government, why is the state government buying for them? So I'm asking, so where is the reform? I can't see any reform. And again, because the governors have taken the responsibility of the local government, that's why they are complaining. Because I have a couple of governors that are my friends. They will not allow me to rest. Because you are carrying too much. Allow the local government to do their bit. When Professor Suba was the governor of Edo State, every month, that money goes into JAC, the joint account. The local government chairman will come to Benin. The commissioner on local government, who was my friend too. He's my friend. Then the deputy governor and the governor and his team, they will meet with them. So give us the project you have to use this money for. When they give them, they will review it and release the money. At the end, when you're coming to collect the other one, they will revisit what you brought before to make sure that you actually utilize the money. If you have long-term projects that some money will be going to that project every month or every quarter, they know. Mm-hmm. But they're not holding your money. They just want to be sure that you are using the money judiciously. Exactly. But that's not what is happening today.
Something about, that is this administration is being criticized heavily for is the what is called fiscal recklessness. Not my word. That's what analysts, experts are saying every day. And they cite examples of, I'm sure you saw Senator Adamu Aliero, Senator Monguno on the floor of the Senate, telling off the
and those are APC members.
And they are APC ministers. In fact, that's what actually worried me, because they are APC members. And this maybe because all of us have shouted, have hollered that, okay, this Senate is worse than rubber stamp. Maybe now they suddenly they've come out of their maybe enchantment or spell or whatever is finally broken. They were telling the finance minister pointedly that this is an impeachable offense. I saw them with my own koro eyes, like we say here in Nigeria, that 2025 budget, capital component of it has not been performed, maybe 30%, and they've shifted it up to September. That 2026 appropriation, capital component of it has not even been touched at all. So the question everybody is asking, the question on everybody's lips, where are these huge savings from the subsidy? Where is it going to?
Well, you said earlier, I know that's not what you are just asking me.
Of course.
You don't believe in that.
No.
That the reforms are achieving
that's what
something.
The APC, Daniel Bala comes there, Sunday Dare comes there, they say they're achieving great stuff.
And they're working for their paymaster now. So what do you expect them to say? You have already talked about removal of subsidy and the savings from there. But there's also removal of subsidy. Okay, well, they were subsidizing the Naira dollar for themselves when Buhari was there. And then they have supposedly closed that gap now. So a subsidy has removed there too. And then power.
Hiking tariff.
Yeah, we are band A now.
Everybody's band A.
Aha. So they have also removed subsidy there to some extent. So the big question is where's all the money? And then we are still borrowing. Borrowing massively. But it's all going to the corruption. That's what we're talking about. The president's wife, I saw this morning in the news, donated 2 billion. Then the president's son, City Boys, they are the only people doing philanthropy in this country today. And we have anti-graft agencies not inviting them. The other day I saw they were inviting Mama P and Peter Akan. Like the Peter Akan guy said, you're inviting people that have to borrow money for T-fare to take Uber to come and meet you. The people snatching away the billions, you're not inviting them. So has EFCC bothered to check? They have SCUMO. Then so that they check monies that are coming to our account. And can they tell Nigerians the money the First Lady is spending? Because it's not in the budget, Nigerian budget. Same thing with the son of the president. That they are buying vehicles, where is that money coming from? It's all corruption. I'm not just talking about the son and the wife. Everybody around them. You are borrowing so much, we don't know where it's going to. When they say, okay, we're going to remove subsidy on this and on that and on that, a serious government will say, okay, fine, let's tighten our belt. We have tightened our belt. We're compared. But they have losing their own. So that's why you cannot see any savings. If you are saving money, why are you borrowing so much? That is the question on the lips of everybody. But the few benefiting from it are clapping their hands and say, oh, they are doing well. Somebody says they did a 3-kilometer road. So, with how much? They are building flyover. With how much? So, it's just a cesspool of corruption and nothing else. And because we can see it. I can see it. Now, they say we should clap for them. They have done something about security. What were you elected to do? You campaigned with it. I pray that they can solve their problem. But I don't think they're even ready. Everybody is making money from the insecurity. Everybody. Even the power. We know the biggest problem we have in this country today is power. Not just for our comfort. If we want to industrialize, you need power. I will send you the resume of the new Minister of Power. He's a civil engineer. But most of the things, they are just accounting and tax. So
was a PwC,
will a serious government that really wants to solve the power problem put such a man as... He's a nice guy. Don't get me wrong. Will you put such a person as the Minister of Power? Although, in fairness to the president again, I must say, as a minister, he's an administrator, just to drive the policies of the government in that parastatal or in that ministry, because you already have people working there just to guide and direct. But I would have thought people that have hands-on experience, whether home or abroad, that people you should bring in to drive it. So these guys don't care about governance. It's how to win the next election and perpetuate themselves in power. That's why monies are moving and flying, and so many people are buried in poverty. And that is why we must come together and kick out this government, no matter how much money they have started aside. I said the other time, and I repeat it here, in this next election, not INEC, not security, not the judiciary will determine the outcome. But we must come together to achieve that.
Let me ask you, before we forget, so in assessing this government still, their achievements or the lack of it thereof, insecurity is another big issue confronting this country.
In the first case, is it maladministration or the poor governance that's leading to the insecurity? But the people that are entrusted from the presidency down to the full soldiers on ground to make sure that we are secured, are making money from it. That Baba Ahmed, the national chairman of
Dr. Hakim Baba
Ahmed, national chairman of PRP. I saw the clip when he talked about how his nephew was released and how they missed their way. The people
and then he was an advisor to the president at that time.
How the people, when they were taking the money, missed their way, and 3 different checkpoints or 2 army guided. I heard of another one too, that a similar thing happened. So is that and those people have been there. Like somebody asked, these people have mobile phones. Yes, they might move away from there to go and make those calls, but you can't track. That's even one. So the point I'm trying to make is, the people they are kidnapping people. Government is paying ransom to make, because you know how they rode on the back of the Chibok girls to get to power. And it's even worse now. If you are not paying ransom, why is this still happening? Because it will take an effort to get guns together, to move into a location, to kidnap people, to move them to a location, and to be feeding them. Only to wake up one day and say, okay, we are letting them go. Because it's a business. They have invested money, time, and everything. Without getting paid back, they will let them go. So they are the ones that do not know that we know that they are paying bandits to release people. And I also think there is a lot of the people, if I dare say maybe security people, involved in this whole thing. That's the truth. Until we have a serious government that says, I have been elected to watch over you, and that's what I will do. Peter Obi said, from day one, it's going to be war. That's what it should be. It should be war. It's either you change or we eliminate you. The Orire one, I was outside the country and I saw the video that was put out by the federal government. This is not one individual. When after viewing it, I said to my wife that, this is a poorly scripted NOLLYWOOD movie. That they didn't even get any person to help them write the script. There was coat of arms in it and they were playing music. We saw soldiers move. We saw tanks move. They crossed water and all that. So that's the effort. But we didn't see anybody shooting anything. A helicopter moved. The next thing, the people were in the place that looked like a primary school or something. And they were entering buses. No, we didn't hear any gunshot or anything. So that was not recorded. If you ask me, there's not even a military man. You knew where those people were. That's what I was telling my wife. So you cannot surround the place and go up with a helicopter and be announcing, you are surrounded. Give up now or we'll do something to you. If you do that for 2-3 days, those people will give up. But we didn't see nothing, no gunshot.
So what you're saying
in that government video.
So what you're saying is that even before this teacher came out to give that narrative, that
when I saw that video,
when you saw it, you already didn't believe
it was clear.
That was scripted.
Because of those in government and what they are doing. That is why they will be doing this nonsense. Because all they are doing is just basically eating our money. So let's give them any story. And you know, this is beginning to make us look very unserious. In the era of Buhari, we see the way those people will give, his spokespeople will give, just give one flimsy excuse that, okay, they will believe them will be, in a couple of days, this whole thing will die. So just put out something there. One, Garba Mohammed then said that, Shehu said that Buhari came back, whether there were roaches in the villa, and that they had to fumigate to be working from home. Just come out. Buhari was very upfront with his health then, even though they didn't tell us what was ailing him. But we will go to London Hospital for treatment. This one goes to France. He doesn't tell us, say midweek, I'll be mid-month, they're going to review holiday and all that. The president is back, but he's still not strong enough. So the vice president will continue, to govern. Simple. Tell us that they say they rescued. Then the other minute they will say that they were freed. They were not rescued. You paid ransom. Simple. And those people that died, I think it was in the course of the military men or policemen. I think it was the initial time. Maybe they were trying to get information or move around close by another. It was not in combat situation. I also understand that if you have your son or your daughter there or your wife or your mother, you will not want the military to go there in a commando way and begin to shoot and all that. But if you didn't have any solution and you paid ransom, let us know. Don't lie.
Okay, with all of this, Honorable, with all of this, that these governments, in your own words, have failed to perform, to deliver, what is the opposition doing to capitalize on it, to take advantage of? Because I've sat with people here who tell me, well, they just flip the roles. Imagine if a Bala Tinubu-led opposition is in opposition against any other person, Jonathan, whoever, Atiku, whoever. What do you think? And I get the picture. Why is the opposition not latching on this powerfully, forcefully? Because everybody believes the opposition has dropped or is dropping the ball.
There's no one opposition political party today that's not in court.
Is that not the problem? Okay, that's not in court.
It's part of the problem, not one.
Yes.
A viable one.
Yes.
Because they are battling with how to finance the party. They are battling on how to even keep their members. Because the APC are still buying members from them. So they are not even, as much as they are coming out to say this and say all that, they don't have deep pockets. Like he was with Lagos Resources funding the opposition then. They don't have that kind of person today. And more so, they have one problem or the other. So most of them are not even sure they're going to be on the ballot in the first case. So whatever they have to say, they just go and put it out there. But no one political party, a viable one today, can tell you they are sure that they will participate in 2027 election. Because that is why you have said you are blaming the opposition and all that. Okay, for all he did then, was he doing all that for Nigerians? It was for himself. It was for himself. And now you use all the propaganda and all to get there today. Governor now, you are struggling. Like the outside people will say, Gafili Gadoki. You say a horse can run now. Look at the pitch, let the horse run. He's struggling badly. So you cannot win election with propaganda and govern with propaganda. That's where we are today. So when we are blaming the opposition, let's look back. The kind of freedom he had to organize things and do all that, and the kind of money he had from state resources. Nobody has that kind of money today. So, but that's why we'll talk about the people. The people, because the office of the citizen is the highest in the land. If the citizens get up tomorrow and say, no more, they are out of that place. No military. No. But the people get up and say, no more. Because you go to the pool, and then you give you 20,000 naira. I heard they even say they are ready to spend 100,000 naira per person to get their vote. They give you that 100,000 naira. What will it? You cannot solve your problem beyond 2-3 days. Therefore, the remaining number of days in whatever is left of the 4 years, what will happen to you? The hospitals will still be there that you cannot afford. The schools will still be there that are not maintained for your children. So the best thing is to go out there, let them know that our vote will count. The day we elect somebody that knows that is the people's vote that took him there, that person will fear Nigerians, will listen to Nigerians, and will govern well. Let that be the place to start.
Why is the opposition not coming? Because the starting point for opposition is them even coming together to present a unified front. Because the way they are splintered now, not only are their votes splintered, their efforts are splintered, their voices are splintered. In fact, they are fighting against each other. What do you say to that?
Well, I don't think they are fighting against each other. To a large extent, I think they agree that this government should go. The ADC would have been the thing. And if you remember the Ibadan summit, yes. And that plan was to make sure all the parties come together. And you remember shortly after that, that didn't quite work. That was when Peter Obi and Kwankwanso moved out. And then Shea Makinde declared his interest. And of course, they pick up these girls, They are not fighting, but they cannot come together because they don't know if they even exist or they are going to exist beyond 2027. And that credit will give to the government in power today. But that is why I'm not focusing too much on the opposition party, but on the citizens. Because the henchmen, the people in charge, the head of these political parties, they are not suffering. They are not hungry. They can very well take care of themselves. But what about that woman frying Akara by the roadside to support the family? What about that Gateman going to work every day with torchlight under the rain that cannot earn 300,000 naira in a month? What are you doing? What about even the civil servant? What about even the young graduates? How much will you get today as a civil servant? Young graduate, 2-1, first class. They can't pay you 500,000 naira. Even after 5 years in government or 10 years, you cannot get 500,000. Look at our doctors. They are not earning up to 1 million. Talk about our professors. If this body of people come together and say, no more, you don't need the opposition. It's the people. So we need to come together as the people and say, no more, is enough, is enough.
Okay. 2 more issues and then we'll round up, we'll tidy up. Number 1, Daniel Bala says the standard of living of someone
I don't want to hear about that guy.
No.
My only respect for him is that he says he's a pastor. So I want to, I don't know, I will not be the one. If he's a pastor, he was called by God. So let me respect the anointing on his head if it's true he's a pastor. But I don't think
he's a pastor. I know him to be a spokesperson and a lawyer.
A
but let me just pose the question. In fact, not just him. He says anybody who earns 60,000 can do better in Nigeria than someone who works in the care services in the UK. And then the First Lady, Senator Tinubu, also says our people, should, in SMEs, they should be encouraged in taking up frying akara, doing kulikuli and roasting corn. How do you, just 1 or 2 minutes on this?
I get what she's trying to say. Forget about Bala. I mean, everybody knows that is a lie, whatever he said. Yeah, but unfortunately, I thought he was so super intelligent. I used to see him like that those days, that he needed a government job to survive is unfortunate. But I won't join issues with him. I get what the first lady is trying to say, that now we are talking about, she has even answered the question of most Nigerians. We are talking about things are hard, no jobs and all that. It's not everybody that needs white-collar job. And that maybe with a little here, you are a vulcanizer, with some money, you can have a good machine, and with good services, you earn money. With 10,000, you can do Akara by the roadside and all that. Well, how many members of her family will she wish that will be doing such a thing in this day and age? That's what people are saying. So why can't we, innovation hubs, create them so that for the young people that are coming up today, so that they can begin to do something? So you need power for that. You need a takeoff grant for that. That's what she should be talking about. Her children are not doing Akara and Kulikuli. Nobody in her family, I think, is doing Akara and Kulikuli. But like I said, I get where she's coming from. That with a token, we can start doing something and start surviving.
Final question. How do you see the objective or the goal of defeating President Tinubu next year?
If, the caveat, I put the big if we have free, fair, credible election, by 2 p.m. on election day, Peter Obi will be the president of Nigeria. Not because we think INEC will announce that result, but we would have shown it to the whole world how he won. Free, fair, and credible election. By 2 p.m. on election day, we will show it to the whole world. They will see it on their dashboard.
So you are making allusion to the fact that you have your own situation room,
Absolutely.
your own dashboard.
We have complete, what INEC is calling IREV. That is their own nomenclature, they use to collect the election.
Exactly.
We have a complete infrastructure.
Oh, really?
The last time I was talking about it, we had gone very far. Now we have even deployed AI. Somebody just brought something from Dubai and we have simulated. We are INEC. What's his name? Amupiton also. He's just he's an errand boy there. He cannot determine the outcome of the next election. No way. By 2 p.m., Nigerians will know clearly who won that election.
But
take this to the bank.
But legally speaking, the only body saddled with the responsibility of announcing a winner or a loser is INEC.
That's where the people will come in. Because you will know who won in your unit in the village, even though you don't vote there. You will know in your neighborhood who won the election where you vote. If we all know like that, where is the legal authority or somebody empowered to announce it's going to come from? By 2 p.m., every Nigerian all over the world, and the whole world will know the winner of that election.
But as we leave the studio, why is it that in Nigeria only INEC can declare winners or losers? Because in America, for instance, we all watch CNN, Sky, we watch Fox News, and they make projections, say we project that Donald Trump will become the next president, we project this person will become the governor or the senator, live. And nobody comes back to say, no, it is not true.
Yes, because it's a true reflection of the voting and all. You see, those are the laws we were made when Peter Obi gets there. You should not go and announce what is not. But we'll have empirical evidence on how that person emerged or how he became the winner. That's what I'm saying. By 2 p.m. on election day, the whole world will know the next president of Nigeria. We will broadcast it to the whole world.
This is interesting. And we'll look forward to this. Nice having you, my brother.
Thank
As
you.
always.
Thank
nice
you
having you. It's been a pleasure.